Hi everyone and welcome to RiesKitchen. I'm Ree. Today we're going to make some lime and coconut friands, and in this series over the next few weeks we're going to be looking at various ways of doing gluten-free cooking. Gluten-free cooking is nothing to be scared about, so when you have friends come over to dinner who tell you that they need gluten-free or wheat-free, it changes the way you need to think a little bit, but really it's good, clean, healthy food. So let's start today with our lime and coconut friands. So 1/3 cup of soy flour, 1/2 cup of coconut, this is shredded coconut or desiccated, 3/4 cup of LSA meal, or you could use linseed meal, 1.5 cups of pure icing sugar, because only pure icing sugar is gluten-free, 2 tablespoons of lime juice, which is about the juice of 2 limes, and 2 teaspoons of grated lime rind. And here's the 185 grams of butter, now melted. Linseed is one of those wonderful organic ingredients that we didn't hear about, certainly when I was a kid, but have been around for centuries. And there's 2 ways to buy linseed. You can buy linseed meal by itself, which is this bowl, and you can see that it's quite loose and it has quite a nutty taste. Or you can buy LSA meal, which is linseed, sunflower and almond, which has a better hold. So in what we're doing today in the friands, I probably would recommend using LSA. So the first thing is friands use a lot of egg whites. Now I'm sure most of you know how to separate an egg, but let's just run through it just in case. So the best thing to do is to pop it, when you need so many, pop it into a separate bowl so that you can, in case you actually get yolk in one, you don't muck up the whole bowl. So we do them one at a time. There we go. And so now I've got 6 egg whites in there. And I'm just going to whisk them up with a fork. They don't need to be, we're not making meringue, so I just need to delineate the protein and get them all nice and fluffy. So just a little bit here. Till it froths up and looks like good dishwashing liquid, really. Can you see that there? Nice and frothy. All right. Now I'm just going to sift in our base sugars and flours. So we have LSA meal, or linseed meal. We've got 1.5 cups of icing sugar, which always makes me think, oh my gosh, but that's just how life is. They are sweet. In you go, into my groovy little sifter. Because remembering for gluten-free you need to use pure icing sugar, which is the one that's lumpy. So you do need to sift it. And then this is just 1/3 cup of soy flour. It's what's going to help us get the bit of body, but it also is going to need a bit of a sift. Now with gluten-free, that means no oats, barley, wheat or rye. So no beer, unfortunately, but luckily you can have these with a nice strong espresso, which is how I'm going to enjoy one when they come out of the oven later today. One last use of the spoon, and that should just about do this lot, I think. Excellent. All right, so we're just going to fold that through. The idea is to try and keep some lightness in. It's going to need a little bit more liquid, so I have here 185 grams of melted butter. That's cooled slightly because I don't want my egg whites to cook. And I'll just mix that through. So it's a little bit like making muffins. You don't have to make it till the batter's really smooth. That's why we sifted everything first. And now what makes these really special is the lime. Just move our eggs out of the way. So I'm lucky enough to have a lime tree, And that's the rind of about 2 of these little beauties, which are just divine Tahitian limes. So it's about 2 teaspoons. Now all the ingredients are, you'll find them on the link at the end of this video to get the recipe from my blog. So we'll just pour that through, mix that through. Oh, the smell. It's a shame it's not smell-o-vision because this smells really good. And we're also going to add 2 tablespoons of lime juice, which is the juice of those 2 limes. And then just to give it a little bit of crunch, you could use desiccated coconut. This is shredded coconut, about 3/4 of a cup. Pretty easy so far, huh? That's it. Now we pop them into a Friand tin. Now if you haven't got a Friand tin, you can use a muffin tin. Just make sure that you have greased the tin. Once all of that's folded through so it's nice and thick and sloppy. So a Friand tin is one of these little beauties. But as I said, a muffin tin would be just as good. And it's just about spooning. So this mixture will make 12. So it's just spooning them into the tin. Then they're going to go in a 180 degree fan forced or 200 non-fan forced oven for 10 minutes. When we pull them out again after 10 minutes, they won't be totally cooked. We're going to sprinkle a little bit more coconut on the top. So pop them in for another 10 minutes and they go a beautiful toasty brown. All right, so now my oven's reached 180. So being fan forced, it doesn't matter where you put it. If it wasn't, you'd want to be in the middle of the oven. Well, we've hit the 10-minute mark. You can hear the beeping of my oven. And as I pull these ones out now. Right, so up on a heat board. You can see they're nice and puffed up a little. So now I'm just going to put a little bit more of that toasted coconut, of the coconut on top, and that will toast just beautifully in the oven. And now we pop them back in the oven in the same position for another 10 minutes. So now, with the beeping of the oven, let's check on those. Whoops. Oh, they're looking pretty good. Just test in the middle to make sure that they bounce back, just the same as any cake. Looking pretty good. All right, now the most important thing to remember about gluten-free cooking is that you leave them to sit for 5 to 10 minutes in the tray before you put them on your cooling rack. Otherwise, the best laid plans of mice and men, when you come back later, you'll just have a tray full of crumbs. All right, now we're ready to take them out. So we've waited that 5 or 10 minutes. Now you just need to loosen just using a blunt knife, so just a butter knife, and just giving them a loosen. Now obviously, because we've toasted the coconut, we can't just put the tray over the top and tip and have them all fall out. That really works with gluten-free cooking, I have to admit. But otherwise all our beautiful toasted coconut will just fall off. So it's just a matter of loosening them. And fingers crossed. And out she comes. All right, so give it a bit of a loosen. Fingers crossed. And now for the best part of any baking, and that's definitely the eating. So now with my perfectly poured espresso, here we go. Gosh, that's good.